Hi, this is Anna Crowe with the Get Real podcast, where CEOs, CMOs, and communications experts share their real advice. It's 6 questions under 9 minutes because we get to it real fast. So let's get to it. We've got a special edition today. We've got 2 awesome guests. So in a few sentences, please tell us who you are and what you do.
I'm Lois Gammerman, President and CEO of Soft Stuff Distributors. We are the premier specialty food service and retail, beverage, and food solutions company on the East Coast.
I'm Bob Gammerman. I'm COO of Soft Stuff Distributors.
Awesome. Well, appreciate you both for coming on. Lois or Bob, whichever one of you feels passionate about this particular question, but I'd love to know, what is the best thing about being a leader in your industry?
It's like any other industry. The greatest thing about being a leader is building a strong team and inspiring them to do great things.
I love that. And part of that, as you know, is creating connections. So the book that I had written, Get Real, is all about creating authentic connections. And I hear from other successful executives that creating authentic connections, whether it's your team or your customers, can be challenging with all the noise today. I'd love to hear your take on that.
So actually, I don't find it to be so difficult to create authentic connections with people, because it's really, at the end of the day, people want to connect with those people who are transparent. This is not about how much hype and how much noise and commotion you can create around yourself, because there's so much of that. I think people are really hungry to meet people who are real, who will share with them, who will talk about successes, but more proudly share their failures. And I have always found that that's what allows me to bond with people, is my willingness to be as open and as transparent as possible. And then the second portion of that is I derive immense pleasure from hooking people up together. You know, It isn't about me. It's what makes me feel good is taking you, introducing you to somebody else who can expand your world.
That's awesome. What about you, Bob? What are your thoughts?
So to extend what she just said, the willingness to come to a connection and provide a service, be able to ask what they need. And those are the most valuable connections that I have, is being able to help other people and the people who come to us and ask what we need.
Absolutely. And I love that approach of adding value, which is what you're discussing. Do you have any other real advice for for other leaders? Anything else that you think is really important to communicate?
To their employees or just to the world?
In general, whether it's with regards to connections specifically, whether it's to their employees or to their customers, any real tangible advice?
I think that your success is derived from people's ability to believe in you and to really create not just the illusion of, but to fully execute on that promise of a perfect partnership. I know that Bob has thoughts on perfect partnerships.
Well, I mean, we live our business life trying to be a true partner to everybody we touch. You know, whether that be our customers, our employees, the vendors we work with, and the community at large. If you are a true partner, then you'll be successful in those connections.
Awesome.
Come to things with purity of heart, and then karma will provide the rest.
Very cool. Well, I would love to hear about your first jobs. A lot of times when I have guests on the show, their first jobs to where they are today are far different. And we all have that crucial point in our lives, right, where we start into something. So can you both share a little bit about your first experiences in the professional world?
So when I was my very, very first job, I was 13, almost 14. And I live here in Maryland. There used to be a small local chain called English's Chicken and Steakhouse. And I went in when I was 13 and a half. I'm tall, so I looked older. And I got myself a summer job and came home and told my parents that I had gotten a job. And I used to take, my mother didn't drive at the time. She was afraid to drive. And I used to walk about a half a mile to a main thoroughfare and take a bus to work every day for the summer. And my dad would pick me up in the afternoon.
That's great.
At 13, I became a dishwasher at Kaplan's Deli, which was a neighborhood Jewish-style deli, and it wasn't far afield from what I am today. Everything I know and everything that is important to being successful, I learned in that kitchen, washing dishes and scrubbing pots. You know, I may not be smarter or faster or prettier than somebody else, but I'll outwork you. And that was taught to me there.
Fantastic. I love that. The power of hard work. I love to, a lot of great leaders offer advice about not cutting any corners. And there's so much value in that. And then this kind of is an impromptu question, being as that you guys own the business together. Are there any tips or tricks for keeping a successful partnership? Anything you've learned over the years?
Yes. You gotta want it, period. So I'm fortunate because I started the business with Bob, so I never came in, and most women, if they work with their husbands, tend to come in a subservient kind of down position. We started as co-equals. He had his strengths, I had my strengths, and we were really committed to the fact that the business was important, but our marriage and our friendship was even more important. So you gotta want it. And that's what I think about every day. Actually, I don't have to think about it because it's like breathing, and I don't have to think about it. I've never had to doubt that he was the right person for me to do business with and to build a life with. But it's really about you got to want it.
And I think the fact that we're aligned in how we look at things and we don't have ego tied up in any of this is important. But what we find is that when people find out what we do together, if their reaction is, I could never do that, then you really shouldn't. Because, I'd kill my wife if, it's not something that you should be doing if you have to think about it.
Mm-hmm. That's great advice. Thank you. How can people get a hold of you if you want them to get a hold of you?
Well, they can reach out to me by my email, which is Lois, LOISG, at GoSoft, SOFT, stuff, SUFF.com, Lois G at GoSoftStuff.com.
Bob G at GoSoftStuff.com.
Wonderful. Well, thanks everyone for tuning in. This is Anna Crowe with the Get Real podcast. For more insights, visit us at crowepr.com. Thanks so much and make it a great day. Thank you, guys.